He thought he was in control. How wrong he was.
Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in. Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in movie club.
From the deepest corner of the darkest universe, two brave hosts battle through nameless hordes of ghoulish monsters most foul, all to bring you the eternal glory of the Dark Side Drive-In.
It's the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in. Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in movie club. It's the dark side, drive-in. Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in movie club.
Good evening, boils and ghouls, and welcome after what to us seems like a very long absence, but I guess based on releasing of episodes, to you it seems like the long drought has already passed. But I don't have time to get into how production schedules work and how things get released in a different order than they're recorded, because it is time for another Dark Side Drive-In Intermission. I bring you your hosts with the significant but not overwhelming number of ghosts. Stefan.
Well, thank you, Darkside Dave. It's good to be back.
Thank you. And then also your other host,
It's good to hear. It's good to hear from you, Dave. I hope the shoplifting has kind of slowed down a bit for you. But I'm sure you had a busy Black Friday.
I love going to retail outlets when they're crowded and stealing things, and they don't know I'm doing it because I don't have eyes, so they don't think I can see it, but I can, and also freaks them out.
Good. Hey, any other games you've been playing? I know you were going through a pretty wild video game journey.
Well,
curious to see where you've been at the last
I was
month.
trying to play Marvel Rivals. However, the community was getting a little bit too toxic. And you know me, I'm all about positivity in 2025. So in order to make up for that unfortunate event, I began to play that new Sniper Elite game. Because I love sniping Nazis.
That's a good one.
Except I'm not very good at stealth because my eyes don't exist.
That actually tracks.
I also don't have ears. I'm not sure how that factors in because I still have the little holes where the ear stuff is, but I'm not a doctor. I'm a necromancer. It doesn't matter to me if the organs work. I still resurrect them with my Eldritch magics. Magic with a K at the end. That's how you know it's cool.
Oh, no. Pretty soon you'll be elite speak, right?
I don't know what that means.
Good.
Well,
keep it that way.
I know that I'm in Stefan's way, so I better go back and start playing more of his video games. I recently saw he downloaded Balatro. I'm going to try that out.
Oh, no.
I don't know how to play poker in your universe. I hope that doesn't hamper my abilities.
It actually might help you.
I only know how to play poker in my universe, and all of the cards are bones. Anyways, all right, see ya. Have fun with the episode, boys.
See you, Dave. How would the cards being bones change the game?
There's a lot more calcium.
How do you match them?
Involved.
Oh,
Bye.
All right, calcium apparently. All right, but yeah, this is a Dark Side Drive-In Intermission. still talk about horror related stuff, but we don't keep it to just the movies from the 80s, sometimes 70s, and sometimes 90s. Right, Shane?
Correct. Sometimes 20s.
Sometimes
aughts.
Sometimes 30s. Future movies.
Oh, no.
But anyways, I think that one of the first things you like to do is to handle some house creeping.
Yeah, we're back.
A dinosaur story.
Yeah, a dinosaur story. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed that we had been absent for some time, partly due to some personal stuff, mainly due to what I will kindly say is a technical difficulty. Squarespace decided to stop paying Google for our subscription, and then Google decided to nuke our accounts. I unfortunately made the mistake of signing into platforms using socials. So long story short, I had to pretty much nuke everything and pay Google to get our stuff back and move things around. So going forward, Dynamis really isn't a thing anymore. Sorry to tell you all this way. We've rebranded a bit. We're now called Farview Studios.
We're like Farview.
Got him. But I think it's more positive. We have some other projects coming down the pipeline that I think if you like listening to us, you're going to love that, because we're going to talk about just not only horror stuff. So, maybe some video games, maybe some current events, maybe some movies. We're going to rotate in a third host. And we have some friends that we like to collab with, so they might be joining us on the show. And then we moved the Low Key Arcade under that as well. So everything's going to be under one umbrella on socials, except for this show. We'll stay separate, but everything else is going to go under one. And then we are going to work on some other projects too, and it'll all live under that brand, I guess, while we kind of still keep our stuff here cooking. The major change for us here, though, is we are going to dial back the amount of episodes per month. So we were doing 4, which honestly was a little ambitious. Stefan warned me when we started. I should have listened, but I just loved what we were doing, and I still do.
Just half as much.
Yeah. So I started a new job, so my work-life balance has changed a bit. So just wasn't working out doing 4 episodes. Recording actually ended up being harder for us than mostly anything, because just trying to get our schedules lined up. But we did release the interview that we had with Matthew I. Schmidt or L. Schmidt? Matthew I. Schmidt, Mr. Sandman. Fantastic. Check it out. He was awesome. It was a pleasure talking with him. We got into some other stuff. He's just a film lover too. So it is a lot about his movie, his indie horror film, but he also kind of dips into some, talking about some other films he likes, and he gave us a couple really good suggestions. So, definitely check it out. I think that would have been the last episode. Well, so you should have already heard the
last
blob.
one released to you and me, but not the last one released to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great conversation with him. You can almost barely tell that I was super nervous to be doing it.
I think you did a great job.
You can almost barely tell that I was nervous.
I really think if anyone listening to this, and you're a indie film director or like have a cool story you want to tell, reach out to us. I was nervous about it. Not saying that I thought that we would do a bad job, but that's not really in our wheelhouse. And I actually think it went really well. So just reach out to us on socials. Oh, we are not going to be using X anymore.
But who's going to give it to you?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the government. But
technically, Elon Musk is kind of in the government now. Don't joke around about that, because technically, I didn't want to get into this. I don't want to get political on our podcast.
Sure,
but Darkside Dave is an illegal immigrant, dude. Like, he's undocumented.
What?
Yeah. We've been dodging ICE raids all the time.
Oh, no.
And and at one point he was like, I'm gonna use my Eldritch Magic on them. Watch out. And but luckily I handed him a Roman candle. He thought it was his wand.
Oh,
What?
oh no.
What you say?
So
Sorry.
now he's also a felon.
Oh, he was always a felon. Luckily, I was able to skirt the law because he also has no pulse and looks like a corpse. So whenever like ICE came over, I was like, "Oh, this is just my corpse pal.
It's just my rotting dead flesh friend."
Look, he doesn't even have
found.
eyes. So,
and then ICE is like, "That's not even our
nope,
department. We don't care."
And I had to we can't allow him to be sent to Guantanamo Bay.
Wait a minute, did that skeleton just speak Spanish? Yeah. So
luckily, I don't think he speaks any other earthly languages, but he does speak extraplanar ones, like the abyssal languages of ancient dark gods from the beyond.
I'll tell you, we've been there's been some shocking developments for me, seeing new levels of things that we can hate. So I would be not shocked to find out that that is also a problem for everyone, that he speaks abyssal. But
the funny thing is too, like people are like, we don't want to, like people are like, we got to get rid of these criminal migrants or whatever. It's like, oh, Darkside Dave is he's a criminal, the likes of which the world has never seen. He has a house of bones.
True. And we have contributed large amounts of that. So we probably need to circle back with that.
Yeah. We better lay low. We better lay low too.
Our lawyer.
Get our legal team together.
Yeah. Which also get paid in bones. I think we've really hit a weird full circle on the bones thing. I think we need to rethink our currency.
Just a bone-based economy.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what's been cooking with us. So sorry for the delay on everything. By the time you hear this, it'll be Friday, and there will be another episode, which was our Christmas episode.
Oh my God. So I forgot about the Christmas episode.
So I that'll come out Monday the following, and then we're going to take a week off and then do another movie.
So this is coming out. So, okay, I know that I think you literally dropped the blob before I came to record right now, just to like let people know.
Yeah, the blob's out now.
So I have not even listened to the blob yet, but I know that it's
very good.
It's great. And so is this going to come out before Elves then?
Yeah, this will come out at the end of this week.
Cool.
Yeah. So this will come out on the 7th for everybody.
You really want to put a date on that? Like what?
Well, they'll never know.
Just edit it out.
Yeah. It's like this has come out on the August 32nd. It's like, what? There's not even 32 days.
Ministry of Truth over here.
Yeah, right. But no, so Elves is in the working pipeline and will be out next week.
I think I remember what our McMurder of the movie was for that one.
Yeah, dude, it was.
Oh man!
Well, what a trip, man! What a movie. And then we couldn't remember Winter Beast on the Blob, and I don't even know if we're gonna. I think we're still gonna do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
what movie do you think we're gonna do after Elves?
Yeah, well, it's still winter, so, and then according to the groundhog, we still have time. So, also, we couldn't remember our tagline, and it's "Lights Out, Frights Out," which was good, but we forgot about it.
I mean, we change it seasonally. How are we supposed to remember everything?
We do. I know. Yeah, but yeah. So we suck, kinda. I suck more than Stefan, but we're back, ready to roll. And then everything will be posted on socials. You'll all hear and see all that.
Except on X. Oh, we're not on X anymore.
We are not. We are done with X. I'm not even logging in there to delete our account. I'm just not giving that any oxygen anymore. But speaking of interview with Matt Schmidt, he turned us on to an app called Slasher, which is awesome. So if you came from Slasher, welcome. Hi.
Hello there.
If you're not on Slasher and you're listening to this and you love horror content, I highly recommend you download Slasher. It's kind of like a mix of Instagram and Twitter, and not X. I'm talking Twitter, like old school Twitter. So it's very, I don't want to say bare bones because that's not really what it is. It's just very simple.
Don't say the B word too loud.
Sorry.
He'll hear you.
Right, sorry. He'll hear us. Yeah, very, very like scaled back. Very simple. There's not a lot of crap on there. It's literally designed to connect people to communicate about horror. So, which is why you're here. And yeah, definitely check it out. It's called Slasher. You can get it on iOS, Android, whatever app. And I think the account setup is pretty quick. It took me like probably a minute.
You get as much.
They don't ask a lot.
Yeah,
of
you get as much out of it as you want to put into it. Like you can just get an account and just like follow other stuff and just keep an eye on things where you can, put your information in, put your bio, set up your bio. It's as much as you want to invest in it. But yeah, that the interview with Matt Schmidt is like, it just keeps giving dividends, because that was a really cool thing that he turned us on to.
Yeah.
I like it. I've already cultivated I think about 200 friends on there. It's been kind of cool. So yeah, happy to do it.
Funny thing happened to me on there. So someone messaged me. It was like, hey, check out this cool movie called Sandman. And I'm like, well, hey, guess what?
Guess what about Mr. Sandman? Yeah,
already watched it. We also interviewed Matthew Schmidt. So, hey, why don't you check this out?
Cross
So
promotion,
yeah, pretty funny interaction. Yeah, it was good. Watch, we probably found out that like he actually owns that site and is running it.
I mean, it
think that'd be
rules.
hilarious.
I don't know who.
It does rule. It actually is so sick.
I can't remember what I was gonna like. I got like a notification via an ad about Mr. Sandman being like added to Tubi or something. I think that happened. I was like, oh man, like the algorithm is real out here. Like it knows what's going on.
Yeah, and he alluded to it coming to other platforms. He just couldn't say which. I think Tubi was one of them. I'm sure there's probably others. Definitely check it out. Really cool. There's a lot of really cool tricks that he did in the movie. I think you'll enjoy it. So I think, what is it, 23 minutes or 32 minutes, something like that?
It's not prohibitively long if you don't have the patience to sit down and watch a whole movie looking at the Witch of the Woods over here.
Oh no,
she won't watch a movie if it's like more than like 80 minutes.
But she'll watch Saw, which is mind-boggling to me. Oh, I forgot about that. We still have to do that episode. So she thought she was free of that burden.
That albatross is going right back around her neck.
I guess she could just not answer.
Yeah,
us,
I mean, that's always been an option.
Which is always possible.
People don't have to respond to other people. This is still a free country at this present point in time.
And she specifically only listens to these episodes too.
That's true.
So it's funny. Yeah. I know we're getting like off on the thing.
What? No way.
But
that's never happened.
So I always enjoy it. So The Witch of the Woods, who probably will be streaming sometime soon. You should check her out once she does. We'll definitely be blasting out her information. Not personal, but the stream stuff. She has a Discord set up, and a group of us or random people will be in there that we know. And always fantastic conversation. The last time I was in there, we talked about actors or actresses that have a lot of what was it, like the most like range. And we, your Denzels came up. We talked about Sam Rockwell, but I brought up oh my god, I don't want to mess his name up. Is it Pete Duplass? Is that how you say it?
Duplass. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I always said Duplass, but I never heard it said. So it's Mark, by the way. His character.
Mark, yeah.
Pete is his character.
Yeah, it's Mark Duplass.
The League.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but it's Mark Duplass.
Yeah, we brought him up. I haven't seen the new
Creep tapes. I
haven't seen. Have you? Is it on Shudder? I need to. I actually I need to go out of my way to watch these things.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
But yeah, so Mark Duplass, Duplass or whatever the hell you want to say it. I said I brought him up because I think his work in Creep is phenomenal. But he was in an indie film with Aubrey Plaza called Safety Not Guaranteed, and it's based off of the internet. I don't know, it's not a creepypasta. It was just like internet lore of that guy that posted that article in the newspaper about time travel. And someone made a movie about it, and he's the main character. It's great. So if you haven't seen Safety Not Guaranteed, I highly recommend watching it.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. That movie, wasn't that like a decade ago or something?
Probably. I'm old.
I watched that movie when it came out.
I don't think Creep Tapes is on. It's on AMC, Philo.
AMC Plus. If it's on AMC Plus, it's on Shudder. Because Shudder owns. Yeah, they own.
Got it. Cool. Yeah. So definitely.
It's a show though. It's
The Witch
not.
of the
It's not a
Woods-
movie.
Correct. Yeah. So hopefully we can get her on here to talk about Saw and how much she loves watching only those movies because they're the correct length, I guess.
I'm not in any rush to
we'll see.
get into that because then that means I have to watch all the Saw movies.
I mean, you've seen one, you've seen them all, right?
You ask me, I would say yes, but
Ooh.
there's only a handful of movies I'll say that about. Another one is the Final Destination films. Like, okay, I get it. Death is really creative. If you don't survive anything, I get it. Cool.
It's good. But I know you're stalling.
You know,
can
I don't
tell.
want to
I can
do
hear it
this
in your
next
voice.
thing.
Well, unfortunately, that's why everyone downloads
It's
this show.
it cannot be. I would refuse to believe it.
I have it on good authority from one person that's why they download this show.
Oh, he's a
And
liar.
it's Dave. He's betrayed you. Anyways, guess what time it is, Stefan?
Is it time for our collective nightmare to begin?
Yeah, we also would accept hammer time or game time, but it's time for
What if I say, is it time to get a
the
watch?
terrible 20s. No, that's a bad joke. Bad. If I had a squirt bottle, I'd squirt you. Yeah, it's time for the terrible 20s, which is our 20 questions. Don't want to get sued by the purveyor of 20 questions, whoever they are.
Milton
Probably
Bradley,
Mark Twain, maybe. I don't know.
Mark Twain.
Yeah, I bet you have just a bundle of questions, preferably 19 and a guess that you want to ask me. But before we get there, Stefan, I've got a question for you.
What's that?
Are you ready?
Well, I guess I am contractually obligated to say I'm the readiest I've ever been.
Insert uncomfortably dramatic music.
What would be uncomfortably dramatic
You
music?
can just download to find out.
All right, let's kick it off. I'm gonna go straight for the jugular. Is this a movie we've done?
No,
Wow. Okay. No jugular for me.
no jugs.
Okay.
It's like TLC, but weirder.
Oh, no scrubs. Okay, cool. So, all right, is it an 80s
No.
movie? It's no to 80s movie. Is it after the 80s?
Yes.
Is it post 9/11?
Yes.
Why do you always laugh when I ask if it's post
I just
9/11?
think that's a funny moment of you. You have a lot of things you could choose from, and it's that. So,
Hey, never forget, Shane. Is it within the last 10 years?
yes.
Okay. Let's get some subgenres knocked out.
Sure.
Is it a slasher? How about zombie
No.
movie? Is there I want to ask if there's a supernatural component to it,
You should ask that.
but is there a supernatural component
Yes.
to it? Is there a demon or demons?
Not in the not like a biblical demon kind of thing.
Okay.
It's not werewolves. I'll help you out
All right.
because those are naturally occurring. So we just gotta.
Yeah.
We'll get to
we've
that
already
later.
established that they're not supernatural. Is there ghosts?
No, but it's no.
It shouldn't be that hard to answer if there's ghosts.
Well, you'll find out.
No.
I would say no.
All right, so just to recap, movie we've done, no. 80s movie, no. After the 80s, yes. Post 9/11, yes. Last 10 years, yes. Slasher, no. Zombie, no. Supernatural, yes. Demon, no. Ghost, no.
So you're 10.
I know.
Okay.
That's why I recounted.
Love that for you.
Is it an anthology
No.
film? Is it part of a franchise?
No.
Is it found footage?
No. Good guess though.
I'm really having a hard time wrapping my head around it being supernatural, but not ghosts or.
You want your first hint?
So sure.
This is a Netflix original title.
Netflix original.
Mhm. Movie too, so it's not a show.
All right. I'm only thinking of 3 Netflix horror movies that I know about.
Okay.
And we already said no to zombies, so it's not Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. So don't have to ask about
Probably
that.
should have been, but it's not.
Is there a creature in it? Don't overthink it, because the movie I'm thinking of, if it were this, you would know.
No.
Okay, so it is not The Ritual. Is there a cult in it?
No.
No cult. All right, then I don't know which Netflix horror movie it
Okay.
is, because I just covered Army of the Dead, The Ritual, and The Babysitter, and so it's none of those.
Okay.
So
So,
I think I'm
what,
done.
what,
All right.
where you should be at 18, right? Is that where you're at?
15. I'm showing.
Oh, that was 15 questions?
Yeah, because I did movie done. No. 80s movie, no. After 80s, yes. Post 9/11, yes. Last 10 years, yes. Slasher, no. Zombie, no. Supernatural, yes. Demon, no. Ghost, no. Anthology, no. Franchise, no. Found footage, no. Creature, no. Cult, no.
Okay. Do you want another hint? I have 2 more hints.
I don't see how it can help me
It will-
anymore, though,
this
if
one
I-
probably will help you.
All right.
Okay. This movie, if you would watch it and know nothing about it, you would think M. Night Shyamalan made this.
So it's bad.
Kinda.
I don't know. Is there like a home invasion?
No. Think older Shyamalan.
So is there aliens?
No. Kinda. Not really aliens. Alright. Are you at 18 yet?
I think so.
Okay. This has a star-studded cast, but probably the most notable one for me, not in terms of performance, but just that they're in this movie, is John Malkovich.
John Malkovich is in a horror movie? And some people might think that, being John Malkovich is a horror movie.
I know John Malkovich does.
Oh, wait. Oh, is this that stupid one with like everyone has to be blindfolded all the time? Is Sandra Bullock in it?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Bird Box. Is it Bird Box?
Yes.
It's Bird Box.
You got it.
Okay.
You did it.
Did I get it in time?
Yeah, that was 20. Hey, so not well received. And honestly, came at a very weird time. This was released in 2018. I feel like this movie is forgotten mainly because of the quality of it, but also because of COVID. A lot of people don't ever like really talk about this movie at all.
Yeah, just like COVID, you go insane if you see a monster or whatever the hell it was
Yeah.
in that movie.
Well, so what was kind of weird is
Also, I had to take umbrage with you saying it wasn't part of a franchise.
it's not.
It is.
What
There's a sequel, Bird Box Barcelona.
that's the same. That's part of this movie.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that existed.
it's a spin-off sequel. Yeah,
Was it good?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch this one either.
I didn't even know it existed. So my bad.
Well, do your research.
Hey, at
next
least I
time.
got the supernatural right.
Is it though?
It's billed as supernatural horror.
All right, fair enough.
So, like, those
I just feel like
beings-
we never know what it is.
That's the problem. And that's why you're like, is it a demon? Is it? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Because they didn't tell us. That was the other problem. That everyone's like kind of mad. But like I felt like this movie crawled so A Quiet Place could walk. I know they were probably being made at the same time ish, but I felt like there was a lot of things from this movie that was part of Quiet Place. I think it was a year. Was A Quiet Place a 2019 movie?
No, it was 2018 as well.
Yeah. So
And A Quiet Place actually came out before Bird Box.
there we go. That's what I'm talking about.
So A Quiet Place walked so Bird Box. And although they both came out the same year and given production schedules, I'm pretty sure that they're probably not impacted by one another. But
No,
yeah, I
but
can see the similarity in the source material.
yeah, it was just kind of weird that both these movies came out near each other. Both kind of had the same concepts, like trying to hide the kids and like, what do you do with like, I don't know. But one of the things that I didn't understand about this movie, because like this had a like huge like happening vibes, right? I don't know if you remember that Gem with Mark Wahlberg.
I never watched it, but I am aware of it.
Very weird. The trees release chemicals that make you want to kill yourself.
Yes.
Like literally almost identical to this kind of situation. And what they don't really get into, they do a teeny bit, but like they really could have played into this more, is some of the people don't kill themselves, but they have like that crazies kind of vibe where they're trying to make you see the other things so you kill yourself. It's really weird. So basically anyone you meet pretty much is like infected by these things. I don't know. I think they really did a disservice to the movie by not showing you what these things were, because there's some really tense scenes where they're using like the car, like they're trying to drive somewhere, so they're using the car's like sensory stuff to see what's in front of them and stuff, and then the monsters like swarm the car, but you never actually see it. And then there'll be scenes where they like show these beings like moving things, but there's just like nothing there. It's kind of dumb. So, yeah.
Is there a scene where they put a guy in a room and have him watch a video of them to see if that affects them, and it does? I thought I saw a TikTok of that.
I don't remember. Probably. That sounds like something that would happen in this. So, yeah, pretty weird movie. I mean, if you've never seen it, I think you should watch it. I think it's definitely overlooked. I wouldn't say underrated. There's some really cool scenes. There's some pretty disturbing scenes. I just think that if they would have let this cook a little longer, maybe in the oven, it would have done better. But yeah, 2018 Bird Box.
Run, Don't Walk to 2018.
Yeah.
Is it still on Netflix, or did they like purge it among their content purges?
It's still on there. Like most of the content on Netflix, it's just hidden behind algorithms. It's really hard to find stuff sometimes unless you search for it directly. Like it's not going to show up. But yeah, had Sandra Bullock, John Malkovich, Trevante Rhodes, Sarah Paulson. I mean, there are tons of Tom Hollander. I mean, there's just tons of famous people in this movie. Little Ray Howery was in it. So yeah, crazy stuff. But cool. Well, that's going to do it for the Terrible 20s. Stefan, you survived. Proud of you.
Is it Terrible 20s or Terrible 20?
I don't know. I keep changing that.
You do. And it's throwing me off. And I'm a co-host.
Unfortunately, you're out of questions. So next time, burn one, and then we'll find out.
Burn one on the meta, the game outside the game.
Yeah, the game outside the game within the game.
Fair enough. Are you ready for me to do my bit now?
Hell yeah.
Cool. Well, now it's time for a little bit that I've decided to call the Fangtastic Four.
They got hit by cosmic rays. And the four would change forever in some most fantastic way. No need to fear, they're here. Just call the four. Fantastic Four. Don't need no more.
I know.
I was gonna do it. I'm doing the Marvel thing. It's gonna happen.
Do it. Yeah, get us copyright stricken by
Get us
Disney.
sued.
Famously litigious organization.
Yeah.
Okay, so in order to kick the door down on this new year that's already well into it, I wanted to talk about 4 movies that were recent that involved creatures with fangs. And why not go to the OG of horror movie, like antagonists, if you prefer to call them that, with 2 movies involving werewolves and 2 movies involving vampires.
What?
Yeah, that's what we call the Fangtastic Four. Arr. Just like how there's 4 fangs if you have upper and lower jaw fangs. I don't know. I'm not a dental expert.
You're a toothologist.
No, what I look like, some kind of tooth knower. But I'm gonna let you, determine if we're going to start with the werewolf fangs or the vampire fangs.
Let's start with werewolves. I'm interested to hear, because I haven't seen Wolfman, so I'm pretty excited to hear about this. I've been waiting for this moment. So
werewolf fangs. All right.
Well,
I'm gonna disappoint you and not start with Wolfman. You shouldn't have. You put the cart before the horse on that one, buddy boy. Because we're gonna start with the other werewolf movie,
the Y
which
Wolf.
Is what was the joke that they did in the werewolf episode of it's like of MST3K when it's like werewolf is I don't know, I thought you were gonna watch him.
Yeah.
And then like whenever Mike comes into the theater and like I think it's like Crow is talking to us like Mike, Tom Servo said They said werewolf, and Tom Servo said, well, I thought you were gonna watch him, and Mike's like, hey, it's kind of funny. He's like, yeah, I thought so too, that's why I told you. Oh well, whatever. It's way funnier if you just watch Mystery Science Theater and not have me recount the story. All right, fine. Werewolves. Did you watch this movie? No, you only watched one of the 4 movies I'm going to talk about in this segment. There you go. Now I've turned it on you. How does it feel? So this one was getting a lot of buzz online among creature feature fans because the director Stephen C. Miller was going for like a practical effect like creature feature werewolf movie, and you know how I feel about practical effects, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love them. Love that Joker. So this was a movie that stars like the main character is played by Frank Grillo. He plays Wesley Marshall. Frank Grillo, already a dude who kind of looks like he's halfway to being a werewolf. We have Katrina Laws, Dr. Amy Chen, Ilfinesh Hedera as Lucy Marshall, James Michael Cummings as Cody Walker. A special appearance from none other than Lou Diamond Phillips as Dr. Aranda. Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
So, all right, werewolves. Let me take you into this in the not too distant future, where a supermoon happens that transforms like 1 billion people on Earth into werewolves simultaneously one night, and then they kill another 1 billion people essentially. So basically, like, yeah, billions of people died and because of a supermoon, and now there's about to be another supermoon, and Frank Grillo is like a biologist on a team trying to like use moon screen to stop people from being impacted by the supermoon's beams and therefore becoming werewolves. And I guess something happened between last time and this time that now it's everybody. If you're exposed to moonlight, you're becoming a werewolf. It's happening. And now you might be asking yourself, but wait a second. The supernatural werewolf rules say that there's components to this, like getting a werewolf bite or like this or that. So what we're saying, Shane, is that this is a genetic version of werewolf.
I love this.
Lycanthropy.
I'm feeling this.
You might call it a naturally occurring werewolf.
Hey, take that, Freck.
So, but yeah, essentially, like, as you can imagine, so like the lead, so that's who Lou Diamond Phillips, he plays like Frank Grillo's like boss, the doctor who's his boss at this like thing. As you can imagine, the moon screen works for a little while, then it goes belly up and something happens. And now Frank Grillo needs to get back to his sister-in-law Lucy's house. And his brother was a first responder who died in the original supermoon. So he feels responsible for like helping his brother's family. So he has to run to get out to go rescue his sister-in-law. Meanwhile, her neighbor, who's like his dude named like Cody or something, who's like a gung-ho militant. He's like, I'm going to fight all the werewolves I can. He becomes a werewolf and then decides that like he wants to attack now like Lucy's house and stuff like that. It's actually kind of funny because in the movie, the werewolves are actually kind of smart. They like hunt people. They try to figure out ways to get at them. Like at one point, one of them gets hit in the face by like a ton of like industrial strength pepper spray, and he immediately runs to a barrel and starts washing his eyes out. So like they have enough like wherewithal to like, they're not just mindless animals, but they have like kind of weird grudges that like the human counterparts presumably didn't have.
Okay.
Specifically that make them want to eat folks. Yeah, overall it's basically just the Purge with werewolves, but like not the Purge, but like the Purge Anarchy, you know, the good Purge, which ironically also starred Frank Grillo. This man just loves being in like chaotic anarchic situations where there's no rules, whether it be werewolves or just angry people. He's gonna be there. So
solid.
Werewolves, if you can get it, I think right now it's only available on demand, but I recommend it. The werewolf effects are, like I said, practical. They're really cool looking. They were clearly hampered by their budget, so there is some times where it's like you're only going to see a couple of werewolves on screen at a time. They didn't really have enough to like populate the entire place with it. But this is an interesting look in like a world where like, hey, one night, every so often there's going to be a full moon that makes everyone turn into werewolves, and it's going to be chaos, like chaos incarnate. So anything to add for werewolves, even though I know you didn't see it?
No, so I'm trying to figure out where to see it. Did you pay $20 to watch this?
No comment.
Sick.
I wanted to see it in theaters, but the only theater it was playing at was the waterfront, and I didn't feel like driving all the way across to the waterfront like on a random Wednesday in December, and it was the last day it was playing before they switch out their programming for the weekend.
Yeah, but dude, you would have probably paid between the ticket and going there and getting something to drink and eat. You probably would have spent $20.
That was my thought. Yeah. Like going to theater, like if it was going to be like here, my North Hills, like theater, I'd be like, oh, that's nothing.
Sure.
Like I can pop up there, use some rewards points. But yeah, if I had to go all the way to the AMC over in the waterfront, no way. So I feel like it was a worthwhile investment.
Yeah.
Plus Stephen C. Miller, the director, I tweeted about it on X Twitter, before we've made the exodus from there.
Sure.
And he commented and liked my tweet.
Hell
He was
yeah.
very excited that people seem to enjoy it because there aren't a lot of practical effect enjoyers out there, and those of us that do have to be vocal about it
Should
so that they continue to make movies like that.
should have asked them to come on the show.
You know what? Yeah, let's try it out. I'll reach out to him. I think that we're still not quite professional interviewers, but the only way to get more professional is to keep putting ourselves out there.
Sure is the only way.
All right. Well, let's get away from the purge with werewolves and move on to
Werewolves?
the new werewolves. So the next one is going to be the new Wolfman remake. Obviously we've all seen the original The Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. Obviously, we've all seen that. And some of us probably even watched the Benicio del Toro remake.
Oh no.
You remember that one? Do you remember that?
That was rough.
Yeah, Antonio Banderas and Emily Blunt was actually I actually liked Emily Blunt in that. Fine. Honestly, I didn't really have a problem with Benicio del Toro either. I just thought that the whole twist where or did I say Antonio Banderas? I meant Anthony Hopkins. Why would I hope I didn't say Antonio Banderas.
You did.
But yeah. Oh no. But yeah, it's Anthony Hopkins. But then he plays like Benicio del Toro's dad, who's like also an evil werewolf. I'm like, this makes no sense. All werewolves have a pretty sinister bent to them. They tend to want to eat folks.
Sure.
But this one wants to like try to do some new ground with it. It's directed by Lee Winnell, who people may know as being the director of the newer Invisible Man movie with Elizabeth Moss, I believe is who's in that. If you ever saw that one.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, he I think he's also directed some other films that people might recognize. I think it looks like Insidious Chapter 2.
Okay. Well, yeah. Those for sure.
Or did he direct those or did he star in those? Let me see. So he starred in those in various roles.
Got it.
Insidious Chapter 2. He did direct Insidious Chapter 3.
Okay. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was the one where it was in London in that like apartment, right?
Maybe. Oh man, he was on a lot of, he's actually a writer on like the first 3 Saw movies and a writer on Dead Silence and Insidious and Insidious Chapter 2. So, okay, he's very heavily involved with a lot of like James Wan projects.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, so I think that like his big directorial breakout for most people, even though it wasn't his first one, would have been The Invisible Man. It was like a new take on that whole thing. I will say that this Wolfman version, it definitely makes some swings that I don't think that it fully connects with. So obviously the Invisible Man remake that he did was focused up on domestic violence, domestic abuse, like that was a big like subplot with like gaslighting this woman into, and like isolating her from her friends and family and stuff like that. I think that was incredibly effective. But this one is essentially, there's this guy, it's Christopher Abbott who plays him. It's his name's Blake Lovell, and he was raised by his father Grady Lovell, who was like a survivalist out in the Oregon wilderness, and like it's implied that he has a very militant upbringing, and he has like a house is kind of like a compound. They have their own greenhouse. They have like, they're off the grid, right? They have like bars on the windows and stuff like that. Like, so it just seems like, you know, it was a very regimented upbringing, but there's also like this undercurrent of this illness that infects people and turns them into like a wolf man type thing. So it's not really a full moon werewolf curse. It's more like a disease or whatever. And so the thing about it though is like there's this aspect of it that's supposed to be about generational trauma. And our character Blake, he has a daughter named Ginger who he snaps at her one time, and we're supposed to think, oh, it's because of his difficult upbringing that he like is afraid of himself as a father because of his father being, you know, difficult to raise him. But it was like, yeah, but you're in the wilderness in Oregon where there were wolfmen. Like, yeah, dude, he's gonna be pretty strict with you, man. There's wolfmans out there. Like, but yeah, then with like the crux of the movie is like he learns from Oregon that his father has been declared dead. He inherited his father's house and his estate. And so he takes his family back to his father's household, instantly run afoul of a local wolfman, gets injured by it and infected with wolfman disease. And then most of the movie is just him slowly turning into a wolfman over the course of the night. There's some really effective scenes with that, like where he perceives like rooms and things differently than his family. Like there'll be a scene where he walks into a room and it's like very well lit, and then it cuts to like the wife's point of view and it's totally dark. He can just now see in the dark because of like what's happening to him. Or like his wife will be talking to him and he can't understand the words she's saying anymore. And then when he tries to speak to her, he's just like making animalistic noises. She can't understand him. So there's like some pretty cool like transformation scenes. It just feels like that it might have been too much of like a bottle episode for like an entire feature length movie, in my opinion. But what was there was good. Yeah. Christopher Abbott does a good job as Blake Lovell. Julia Garner, who you might know from like, what is it? The Ozarks, plays his wife, Charlotte Lovell. She's good. Their daughter, Matilda Firth, plays her, Ginger. She's really, really good. It just, like I said, it just feels like there wasn't quite enough fleshed out to justify it in a lot of ways. But like those transformation scenes were really cool. The way he's perceiving the world differently, and over time it's just like infecting him, and like the panic of his wife and daughter while he's changing right in front of their eyes, but also they can't leave the house because there's a wolfman outside as well. So pretty cool, pretty interesting movie. Probably not a go see it in theaters kind of thing, but like once it's available streaming, I'd recommend giving it a look. Just check it out.
Do you know which studio owns it?
It's a Blumhouse production.
Okay.
So I don't know what bigger studio that would be. I would guess because it's a remake of Wolfman, it's Universal, but that would just be a guess on my part.
Okay.
Anything to add for Wolfman?
No, I just I definitely wanted to see it. I'm gonna wait till it comes to streaming, and then hopefully give my 2 cents. But the trailers looked fantastic. So whoever did the trailers, kudos, because I mean it was and it kind of came out of nowhere, right? I at least I think I didn't see a ton of advertising for it until like about a month or two before it released.
Oh no, it didn't come out of nowhere for me.
It did for me.
I've had my eye on this for a while. I'm a Wolfman and fanatic from the way back though.
Fair enough.
I had a VHS copy of Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman from my youth. But speaking of streaming, you know what happens when you nick a blood vessel?
What?
Blood streams down their throat. That's right. We're moving on to vampires.
Or chests, apparently.
They can be. So I have another one to talk about. Do you want to just jump into the one that you know, though?
No, let's go. Let's say that for last.
Okay. Well, then the first one we're going to cover is a little movie called Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person, which technically I think came out in 2023, but that was like on like festival circuit release and stuff like that.
Sure.
It had a proper like release, like distribution release in the United States in 2024. So still counts as a 2024 movie. It is a French vampire movie directed by Ariane, Ariana, I don't know how to say it, Ariana Louise Says. Stars Sarah Monpetit as Sasha, Felix Antoine Bernard as Paul, Steve Laplante as Aurelian, who's Sasha's dad, and Sophie Cadeau as Georgette, who is Sasha's mom. And then an interesting performance from Naomi O'Farrell as Denise, who is Sasha's cousin. So the entire plot of this movie is Sasha is a vampire, and her family are all vampires. And when she is a child, at her birthday party, they invite a clown. And after the clown's performance, and she enjoyed the performance, her family decide to eat the clown.
Solid.
In front of her, and it traumatizes her. And suddenly, like the vampire psychologist who's like interviewing her is like, yeah, your daughter doesn't feel hunger when she sees human suffering. She feels compassion. And her parents are disappointed to find that their daughter doesn't want to kill people. So it's just a movie about how she doesn't want to kill people, but she needs blood to survive. And finally, her mother is sick of supporting her. So they send her to go live with her cousin, Denise, who is going to like not feed her until she manages to get a kill. But that's when she finds Paul, who is a young, teenage boy who wants to die. And she sees him like planning to kill himself. And then she decides that's how I can finally, eat somebody, is I won't hunt somebody who wants to live. I'll hunt somebody who wants to die. But obviously it doesn't quite go as planned. And it turns out it's less of a horror movie than more like a coming of age, like
nice
semi-romantic comedy, just with vampires also, where she ends up helping him. She decides she can't kill him. She needs him to like, well, what's your dying wish? He's like, well, I guess I can get revenge on all the people who wronged me. And they just go on like this like massive prank war, messing with all the people that he hated and stuff like that. It's surprisingly sweet. It's like a heartwarming little tale. The relationship between them that they build is like, I guess it's kind of hard to say it's a romantic comedy because it isn't an explicitly romantic relationship, but there definitely is like an undercurrent of it between them, which is that she clearly cares for him, and he starts to not want to die as much because he likes hanging out with her and stuff like that. So it's just a fun movie. So yeah, humanist vampire seeking consenting suicidal person. Unfortunately, the only place that I could find it streaming was on Mubi.
Okay.
Which is like, yeah, it's like a specific studio. I got like a 7-day free trial on Amazon Prime so I could watch this movie and then The Substance, because Mubi also owns The Substance, and that's a pretty big deal right now. So there you go.
I've been told to watch that. So a couple people have told me that I need to watch The Substance. So maybe I'll do the trial and watch these both.
I have thoughts on The Substance. Maybe I'll get to that later. We'll find out.
Ooh.
But there you go. That's one half of the vampire fangs in our Fangtastic 4.
Oh no.
But now it's time, Shane, for the fourth fang. Shane, what is this movie that we have come to at last?
Nosferatu.
That's right. It's Nosferatu or Nosferatu. I alternate between my pronunciations. I don't know what the proper one is, if it's Nosferatu or Nosferatu. But yeah, the new Robert Eggers Nosferatu remake. Obviously I'm a fan of Robert Eggers. The Lighthouse is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like The Witch and I like The Northman both quite a lot. He has no misses in his filmography, including this. Stars Bill Skarsgård as the vampire in question, Count Orlok. You have Nicholas Hoult as Thomas Hutter, a state agent that's going to run into trouble when he's dealing with a certain Eastern European count. Lily Rose Depp as his wife Ellen. An interesting turn from Aaron Taylor Johnson as what's his character's name?
Friedrich.
I can't believe I just totally Friedrich. Yeah, Friedrich
Harding.
Yes, and then Emma Corrin as his wife. Probably the funnest role in the movie, in my opinion, is none other than Willem Dafoe as what's his full name? He has like the longest
Professor
name.
Albin Eberhard von Franz.
von Franz. Yeah, he's something else in that. Yeah, Dr. Wilhelm Sievers is played by Ralph Ineson, who might have one of the deepest voices of all time.
Yes.
Probably one of the coolest roles though is Simon McBurney as Herr Knock, the Nicholas Holt's character's boss, who is going absolutely cuckoo bananas over his obsession with his vampire master. Yeah, I mean, I saw this movie 4 times in theaters. It's comes as no surprise to anyone that I've enjoyed this movie thoroughly. There's been a lot of discourse online about the look of Count Orlok. People don't like his mustache, I guess. I like it. I like his Transylvanian noble look. I like how gross he is. He looks like a rotting corpse kind of chilling out there. Not as excited that he hangs dong in the first third of the movie. I definitely expected that to happen later in the movie, but it's a fast dong hang scene. It's a
little jarring. It's like a jump dong. It's like jump scare dong.
Yeah, I mean, because there's a jump scare that happens and then dong's out.
Yeah.
I did think it was funny that he sleeps in the nude though. It's like, man, this guy, he's just in a coffin.
Which is crazy because it's like
he sleeps.
He just is like, I'm gonna take my time and take all of my clothes off and then go sleep in this coffin. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it is for my comfort.
Yeah, solid.
That's my attempt to do his voice. I think it was like a solid week and a half there after good. I saw that I was just constantly trying to do his voice. Yeah. Now are we neighbors? Yeah, but no, it is not a horror movie in the sense that I think a lot of people expected it to be. The online discourse about it was like, oh, this movie is so boring. It's like, well, it's a gothic horror. It's slow. Like a lot of like long shots, a lot of like ponderous moments, it definitely reeks of like TikTok brain, the way that some people reacted to this. Because I was like sitting here, I was like, some of you have never read like Anne Radcliffe
or watched the first one,
gothic fiction, or watch the first one. But like, I'm talking about real slow burns, like one of those old gothic novels where it's like 500 pages and like half the time when something cool. No, what do you know what gothic fiction is? Did I have to explain it to you?
Sure, go ahead. Go.
No, I'm done. We're out. This is over. Cancel it. Canceled. But no, so canceled. Yeah, but no, so like the idea is just like it's very slow burn, it's very atmospheric. It's it isn't going to be a thrill a minute, escapade. Although there's some really gruesome stuff that happens.
Oh yeah, dude. This movie, they did not shy away from anything that like you would like the original like doesn't show a lot because it's from the 20s, right? But they definitely did not shy away from the gore.
Yeah, the sound he makes when he's just guzzling down some blood is like one of the grossest versions of a vampire drinking blood. Like he's just like straight up like Capri Sun up in here, just like.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I forgot this was Bill Skarsgård. That's how good of a job he does. Like at no point, no point am I like, oh, that's Bill Skarsgård. Like I literally didn't even think it never even crossed my mind.
No, his voice and his like physicality, and obviously the prosthetic work they did on him. Just it is. He disappears into that role for sure. And I've said it before, like when talking about this with people, but like. I'm not a big fan of, celebrity legacy, like, like, oh, my parents were famous, so I'm famous too. So when I heard Lily Rose Depp was cast in this, I was like, sus. Like, I don't know if I'm going to like that, but she puts in the work. You got to give her credit. Like, she's clearly talented. She clearly puts in the work. Like her performance in this is definitely one of those when you see like a Nepo baby be in something and you're like, wow, this proves that they actually can do the work. Now is the question that they've had more opportunities because of, being children of the industry. Probably. That's probably true.
I mean, most certainly.
But yeah, but like, you can't say that she's not putting in more work, as much work, if not more work than a lot of the performers here.
No,
Nicholas Hoult is super fun as a guy who's like in over his head too.
Oh, I know it. I just felt like the casting in this was weird though. Like, cause he was just in Renfield.
That's true.
So like, was just kind of weird that they chose him. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't do a good job, because everyone in this movie did a great job. There was not, I like if I could recast this movie, I would pick the same people. But I just think it's weird that he like literally just did a vampire movie where it was like lighthearted, kind of played the same type of character ish, like the hopeless romantic kind of, you know what I mean? But he nailed it. I mean, I love Nicholas Hoult, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a hopeless romantic. He's married. He got married to his wife this time.
But like, he's chasing a dream. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he always has that. Like, he wants something more, I guess. I
just love all of the situations. He's just like in this castle with clearly something is up, and he is petrified. And I remember in any other version of this that I've seen, like if you want to talk about the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula, if you want to talk about the original Nosferatu, if you want to talk about the remake version that that Werner Herzog did in 1979, like I feel like every time like this character, if it's you calling him Harker, you calling him Hutter, whatever version of it is,
sure,
he always seems like he's like not alarmed enough in this situation. And this one, he was so terrified from the get, and like Orlok wasn't making it easy for him. Remember how he's like calling him sir? He's like, "You will call me Lord." Like he's, "Oh, sorry, my Lord," you know? And then like whenever he sits down, he's like hands him his correspondence. He sits down. Suddenly Orlok like teleports behind him to pour him some wine. He's like clearly freaking out over this whole thing. It's like, this is the most relatable version of this character I've ever seen.
Yeah. And like I think they did a really good job. Like we're talking like against like the original Nosferatu. I loved like, cause there's a lot of things they couldn't do, I think in the 20s. Cause either like just time and money, and plus maybe they did it and we just didn't see it cause they destroyed it. His time at that village outside of the castle, like was, I think was way better. Like the things they added, like I liked how they changed the story in this a lot. And I don't even know if it's changing the story, but they added to the story. Like instead of the werewolf thing, like local superstition, they did the Romani.
But yeah, the Romani people doing the ritual by the gravesite. And I think the whole point of that scene was just to demonstrate think of the main character in that, which was the Romani leader who was leading those people to the vampire that they're going to stake, and like juxtapose him with Harding, who is like the opposite end of that, the science and reason version of that, who his unwillingness to accept it leads him to ruin. I feel like that was like the two sides of the same coin. So it's just to show us that like, okay, so you think of these people as being backwoods and backward and stuff like that. Well, that's the gap that, Willem Dafoe's character later on, like Von France, when he shows up, he's like, forget all of this nonsense about science and stuff, dude. There's a vampire chilling in your town, like trying to get them to like understand. So I thought that was a really great scene. I will say that was one of the few scenes that I did enjoy a little bit more between the original and the 1979 remake. Whenever the Werner Herzog version, when he gets to that village, they handle it very well. But in that one, I feel like they made the villagers seem superstitious, but more like just to show us like, hey, something scary is about to happen, as opposed to in this one where it's to show us, hey, here's another way to approach this that might be more reasonable than these like, modern physicians would approach what we're about to get into, that kind of thing. But yeah, Willem Dafoe, like as soon as he rolls in and then he like examines, Ellen, and he's like, oh, she is definitely possessed of some demon. And then Ralph Ineson's Dr. Seavers is like, he's surely being hyperbolic. Willem Dafoe's like, no, I mean a demon. It's like, no, for real, like it's happening. And then Seavers is like, but you've seen like hysteria of this, like of these things. He's like, this is not that. Like, it's just so funny how immediately Willem Dafoe is like, oh, this is the real deal. It's so good. Just such a good movie. What a great film it is.
I agree. I think it's probably one of the best films of the year by far.
I would agree. I would be prone to agreement
In
with
terms
you,
of
sir.
films we've watched together, though, I still think Godzilla -1 minus color is still my favorite. I love that movie so much. I think it was just breathtaking. They were able to accomplish all that, and then for it to hit as well as it did in black and white was just phenomenal. So
Another movie that I saw in theaters 4 times.
I was
I see movies in theaters
sure
a lot when
do.
I like them.
I was thinking a lot about this. Do you think you would have liked Nosferatu better if it was black and white, or do you think they did okay with it? Like, it was the addition of like color, or just able, like, I don't know, because I think it did add a lot. But I wish they'd make a black and white version of this. To be honest with you, I'd be really into that, dude.
If Robert Eggers wanted to, maybe, but he's very deliberate in his use of color and when he chooses to have items with a high amount of color, and he juxtaposes a lot of scenes of like gray with scenes of with more vibrancy to them. So it would depend on if he wanted to do it.
Like, he would have to do it though,
because that was because like when I was getting into, like, I think I told you, going to see Godzilla -1 minus color, I thought it was just going to be like a black and white filter, but they clearly put the work in because they knew it could be done this way, and it ended up making it maybe better. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm ready to commit to saying which version of Godzilla -1 is better. I do have the Blu-ray of the color release, but they haven't done the minus color version yet. It's looking like the Godzilla store is going to sell a 4K DVD of it. So I'm going to be, or 4K Blu-ray of it. So I'm going to be keeping an eye out for that. But no, Nosferatu, definitely high on my list for this year. But, that concludes the Fangtastic Four. But it also segues nicely into our next segment, Shane.
Which is?
It is our 2024 Post-Mortem. I'm going to talk about my top 10 favorite horror movies of 2024.
Nice.
And I don't know if you were doing this too, because I think I sprung it on you.
You did.
Well, too bad.
Too bad.
All right. Well, I'm going to start out with honorable mentions. Two of them are ones we just talked about, so I don't have to get it too into them. Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. Loved that movie, but it's an honorable mention because it just wasn't very scary. It was more heartwarming. Werewolves. I really did like Werewolves a lot. It's a creature feature, but there's just so much good that came out this year that I had to bump it down. I feel kind of bad about that. Another one is from earlier this year during the You Spinning Me Right Round, Baby Right Round, Like Record Baby Right Round, 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 and that is Sting. Sting goes on the honorable mentions. You remember Sting, the one about the alien spider monster that gets big and
she like takes care of
a lot of people.
And like, like
the little girl takes care of it until it gets to be too big and then starts attacking exterminators sent to kill it. Another vampire one, another French one. I've been going crazy for French movies this year. The Vardelok, which is another vampire one. It is essentially, it's kind of a weirder one. So it's shot in like 16 millimeter. So it has like this very old school, like Hammer, look to it, like the old Hammer films. It reminded me a lot of like Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter, actually, which is a weird one to think about. But it was directed by Adrian Beau. Starred Casey Modet Klein as Marquis Jacques-Antoine Saturnine d'Euf, who's like this Marquis. He's like in Eastern Europe on the run because he was robbed. So he finds shelter with his family. Ariane Lebed as Sedenka, who is his somewhat love interest. Gregor Collin as Yegor. Vasily Schneider as Piotr. They're Sedenka's brothers. Claire Dubourg as Anja, and Gabriel Pavi as Vlad, who are Yegor's wife and child. And then Adrian Beau, the director himself, voices Gorcha, who is the Vordelok of the title. He is the father who returns as a vampire, and the family don't want to believe it. Even though, here's a secret, he's played by a marionette.
Okay.
So clearly a vampire. Yeah. He's not even a human being. So it's kind of a funny like design choice. It's a really weird movie. There's one scene in particular that like just grossed me out. I'm not going to get into it, but it was a scene that started out in a direction that I was like, oh, I'm surprised this is happening. And then it ended up being way grosser than I expected it to be. But an interesting movie nonetheless. I think it's available on Shudder if you want to stream it. So yeah, The Vortelock, check it out. That was another one that was like released in limited releases in 2023, but didn't get its US release until 2024. I have two more honorable mentions before I get to my top 10. So sorry, I had a lot to go through. Arcadian, directed by Benjamin Brewer, stars Nicolas Cage as Paul, Jaden Martell as Joseph, Maxwell Jenkins as Thomas, who are his sons, Sadie Soverall as Charlotte Rose, and then Joe Dixon as Samantha Coughlin as Mr. and Mrs. Rose from another neighboring farm. So essentially it's a post-apocalyptic thing where people basically have to keep their houses barricaded at night because there's these nocturnal monsters that attack them and will kill them, and it's scary stuff. It has some really interesting monster design. They do crazy things like gather up as like a giant wheel and roll down the road together. There's one scene in particular where one of the sons wants to trap one, so he one of them's reaching in the wind, like the doorway where he's sleeping, and it's reaching this long claw trying to get to him. Really creepy one. So it's got some interesting creature design. Overall though, just like not a lot you haven't seen before. If you've seen a post-apocalyptic creature feature where, you know, you have to stay in at night or whatever, you kind of get the picture. And then my last honorable mention is going to be Abigail, the vampire one, directed by Matt Bettinelli Olpin and Tyler Gillett, starring Melissa Barrera as Joey, Dan Stevens as Frank, Alicia Weir as Abigail, Will Catlett as Rickles, Catherine Newton as Sammy, Kevin Durant as Peter, and then probably one of the most important ones is Giancarlo Esposito as Lambert. So basically it's the one that's like the little
I really
little
wanted
girl
to see
that
this.
they think
like,
they
really
kidnapped
bad.
the little girl, and she turns out to be a vampire and is hunting them. It's a pretty interesting movie. I enjoyed it. I actually did see this one in theaters. It was a lot of fun. Just not fun enough, I guess. But yeah, the Melissa Barrera is great. Catherine Newton is great. Catherine Newton's character and Kevin Durant's character end up forming like a fun little friendship that unfortunately things don't go well for either of their characters. And Dan Stevens is just always great in anything he's in. He's been kind of killing it lately. He's actually going to come up later on in my list. So, all right, now on to my proper list. Starting off with number 10, it's Cuckoo, directed by Tillman Singer, starring Hunter Schafer as Gretchen, Jan Bludhart as Henry, Martin Zokas as Luis, Jessica Henwick as Beth, and then Dan Stevens once again as Herr Koenig, and Mila Liu as Alma, who is Gretchen's half sister. Really weird movie, and I kind of don't want to give too much away because it definitely didn't go in any direction that I expected it to go. I will say I had a lot of fun with Dan Stevens' character in this because he's playing like a very German guy. So he's like using his like very exaggerated German accent throughout, and it's just like he's having a great time here. Hunter Schafer is doing like a lot of heavy lifting in the role as like this out of place that doesn't want to be living in because basically this family, her mother passes away and she moves in with her father, who's with his, new wife, new daughter in a like a resort, like a kind of rural resort in the Alps. So really out of place, not anywhere that she wants to be. When suddenly a lot of strange occurrences start to happen involving a mysterious woman who's like wearing sunglasses at night. So you know what Corey Taylor would say about that. Or no, not Corey Taylor, Corey Hart. Corey Taylor's a singer from Slipknot, right? I mean, I'm sure he probably has opinions on it too. But no, I think Corey Hart probably has more opinions. There's one particular scene that I will say is whenever Gretchen is riding her bike home at night from the resort, and she doesn't see it, but we, the audience, see as someone is running parallel to her bike and trying to run after her. and then suddenly like she sees from like streetlight shadows that there's a shadow following her and getting closer and closer to her bike, and she turns and it's this woman chasing after her. Real scary scene. So fun movie. Next up, this one's probably going to be kind of low on my list and people are going to be upset with me, and I'm willing to accept my internet hate.
Okay.
But at number 9, I have Long Legs.
All right.
Directed by Osgood Perkins, starring Micah Monroe as Lee Harker, Nicolas Cage as Long Legs, Blair Underwood as Agent Carter, Alicia Witt as Ruth Harker, Kiernan Shipka in a pretty fun role as Carrie Ann Camera, one of the survivors of one of the family annihilations at the hands of Nicolas Cage's Long Legs victims. It definitely, I think that I might have been victim to my own assumptions with this one, because I heard a lot of buzz going into it. It's like, oh, it's a lot like Silence of the Lambs. I was like expecting a serial killer thing.
Mhm.
I wasn't expecting psychic powers and also Satan. So very active satanic component here. So there's more supernatural elements to it.
Cool.
I did like the style. I like the performances. I thought it was really cool. Like obviously Nicolas Cage rules. Yeah, Micah Monroe as Lee Harker. She like does a really good job being kind of aloof, like somebody who clearly is out of touch with the world and, you know, has a special gift for crime solving and stuff like that. So it's a good movie. It just wasn't quite what I was expecting. So I had to bump it down to here. I'm probably going to watch it again. I do have it on Blu-ray, so I can watch it as many times as I want. Did you see Long Legs?
I did not.
I don't know what else to say. But what I will say is that the, Osgood Perkins, I am excited for his next movie coming out here later this month. It's The Monkey, based off of Stephen King's story. So I liked his style enough. Good. Yeah, like I liked his style enough, and I liked the movie enough to continue to watch his stuff. It just wasn't quite top tier for me. Moving on, number 8 is Mads. This is another Shudder one and another French one. Oh man, I have a lot of French ones here. Directed by David Moreau, stars Milton Riche as Roman, Laurie Pavey as Anais, Lucille Guillaume as Julia, Sasha Rudakawa as La Femme de la Route, which I think is the name of the first Patient Zero woman that shows up. And then Vincent, I just think this is like, so Vincent Pastermagian as La Dealer, who's a drug dealer.
Solid.
That's funny, is La Dealer. So essentially it's just like kind of a not a long movie. I think it's like 80-90 minutes, and it's essentially just one single continuous cut style movie that is basically showing us the onset of a zombie apocalypse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Roman, as he's leaving his dealer's house, he pulls over and a woman jumps into his car, and she's like clearly been escaped from like a hospital of some kind. She doesn't have any teeth or anything like that. And then she tries to kill herself and gets blood all over him. That infects him with whatever it is. And as he goes to a party, he thinks that he's just high, but we start to notice physical changes, like his eyes glowing weird and stuff like that. And he infects his ex-girlfriend Anais, and then like, she's starting to change. So like after he leaves the movie, the camera trick follows her then as she continues in the movie. I will say the most effective parts are Anais's parts, like Laurie Pavey, who plays her. Like she's fantastic as somebody who's clearly changing and like at first scared of it and then embracing it and stuff like that. It's just like a really cool juxtaposition and stuff like that. I will say that because of the one cut style, the beginning as like they're all hanging out and going to a party and doing drugs and stuff like that, it's kind of like, okay, like we've seen this kind of movie before. Like, do we really have to waste this much time? But then once it gets to be about like a third of the way through, it really kicks into overdrive and moves forward. So Mads, highly recommend. And I can slow down if you want to comment on anything.
No, I just didn't know what we were doing. I have like nothing prepared for this. I don't know what to say. I haven't heard or seen of half of these.
Well, you've heard of this one.
Yep.
Number 7 is Alien Romulus.
I have seen this one.
Hey,
I can add to this.
So this one, directed by Fede Alvarez, starring Kaylee Spaney as Rain Carradine, David Johnson as Andy, Archie Renault as Tyler Harrison, Isabel Merced as Kay Harrison, Spike Fearon as Bjorn, and then Eileen Wu as Navarro. And then Daniel Betts plays Rook, but it's like in Ian Holmes' likeness, which Ian Holmes passed away, so kind of not sure how I feel about that. But man, I'd lost so much hope in the Alien series before this movie.
So
I did not like Prometheus. I did not like Covenant. So,
did you think it was kind of weird that like they changed his name? Because wasn't his name was Ash in the original, right?
I thought that was a different robot. Isn't that the one that's played by or no, that's Bishop. Never mind.
Yeah, in the original Alien, Ian Holmes' character is named Ash. Let me look it up real fast. Yeah, Ian Holm plays Ash. I think in Aliens they changed his name. Right?
I don't know. I'm kind of being put on the spot now. I wasn't ready for any of this.
Yeah, Bishop is Lance Henriksen.
Bishop is Lance Henriksen's in Aliens.
Yeah, but I'm on IMDb right now. Alien 1979. Ian Holm plays a character named Ash. I was just talking about this with someone like recently, where it was just strange because like his name is Rook in the new one.
Maybe because
it's not him.
Androids. Well, it's not. It wouldn't be him.
So I thought all the androids in this world,
do they all have the same name?
They all look the same. It's like their model. I thought.
Well, yeah, because a lot of them look like
the Andy
Lance Henriksen.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Andy's a robot too, but
so I don't know where the Rook name came from, to be honest with you, or was he called Rook and they just miscredited it?
I don't know. I didn't care enough to even look into it because they call him Rook or do they just credit him as Rook? I don't know.
The character's name is Rook. They say it in the film. It's supposed to look like Ash, I guess.
Maybe he's just a different robot.
Yeah, it is.
Because it isn't the same robot, because that one is destroyed, and obviously they did pick up the remnants of the Nostromo. So I don't know.
Well, that's what everyone's complaining about because there's some like weird discrepancies that just don't make sense why they would do it, and this was one of them. Sorry, not trying to.
Man, words can't even explain how much I don't care. Like it's kind of crazy.
Well, number 7 though, right?
Still a good movie.
It's a great movie. The only thing, like honestly, dude, the only thing I wish they would have shown the aliens destroying the ship.
What do you mean?
Like I wish they would have shown how Romulus fell. Like that, I think that would be a cool movie.
Well, we see enough of it.
Yeah, but I mean, like literally,
it was explosive decompression that killed the people.
Right, but then the aliens got out.
Yes.
Yeah, I just think
it happened.
Right, I just think it'd be cool to see that in movie, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. But
it doesn't have to be like a whole
with the explosive decompression.
Right.
But I kind of appreciated the smaller scale of it, like that we're only really seeing it from the point of view of these miners who are trying to get off of a planet of forever darkness. They're basically forced to work at by a corporation because they keep increasing their quotas to leave. It's like, just wait till Elon Musk gets his hands on Mars, dude. That'll be all of us.
Yeah, right.
Mining for our quotas from a corporation. And that's one of the things I appreciated is like when I first watched this, I was like, man, all these actors are so young looking. But that's like kind of what I appreciated about it is like they're all like young adults who just want to have their lives, not be trapped like like the generations before them that worked themselves to death or died in the mines, on this planet. Like the amount of desperation that they are like willing to put up with this increasingly insane series of events on Romulus just to get out of there. It was like, actually, I thought it resonated really well with me. And also it might be the first time that I found face huggers like truly terrifying.
Oh, I know.
Was when they're in that, twice. Once when they're in that first room and they accidentally like release them by removing the cooling packs they need to like try to put themselves in like cryo sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just like moving around in the water. It's like, oh, absolutely not. And then the scene where they're trying to sneak through that hallway and not make any noise so that like the face huggers don't see them or hear them. It's like, absolutely not. I don't want anything to do with this. All right. Well, that's it then. Moving on.
Well, I mean, we're not spoiling anything, right?
If you want to.
I loved the final creature. I thought that was fucking wild.
The
baby.
The alien. Oh, yeah.
Dude, like how wild was that, dude?
What was up with that thing?
How it just grew in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, Kay shouldn't have taken that juice.
I know.
That's what did it. But yeah, that was the only thing that was kind of a throwback to the like the Prometheus era stuff.
Sure.
Because like whenever that thing came out, it was like meant to be like have remnants of the space jockeys, but it wasn't enough to soil my experience because I really do hate what Prometheus did with those. But yeah, that thing was like gross and really mean.
It was creepy though, like how it like moved around, and I mean it was.
Yeah, I've never been more happy to watch a thing get killed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was pretty psyched when Rain put that thing out of there.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Alien Romulus, number 7. Love that movie. All right, moving on. I'm gonna get to my number 6, which is The Substance, directed by Coralie Fargeat. You've seen her other movie, Revenge, right?
What year?
2017, I believe. It's basically one of those like.
I have not seen this.
The girl gets like assaulted by her boyfriend's friends, and then like decides to get revenge on them.
Not my jam, as people probably know.
Well, no, but that's why this one actually is good.
Okay.
Because it's like it's one of the things that this director does is she like takes movies that are traditionally dominated by the male gaze and then like transforms them. So like how most body horror is usually a very male dominated sort of like genre, she flips it and like makes it her own. She did the same thing with Revenge, I would say.
Okay.
Like it's the only one of its type I would recommend because it doesn't fetishize the assault aspect, but focuses on, the story impact. But with The Substance, you have Demi Moore getting the appropriate amount of positive attention for her role as Elizabeth Sparkle. Margaret Qualley as Sue. Dennis Quaid is in here as Harvey. Jan Bean plays the Substance voice, which is just his voice on the phone and in the ads and stuff. That's a very like interesting. It's like a voice that sounds very much like one of those like, The Substance. Like it's like a very serious voice, and not even that deep, just kind of like serious sounding. Yeah, this is like I don't want to give away too much about it because it is an interesting movie. But basically, it's an interestingly vulnerable role for Demi Moore to take on, because it is basically just about a woman who, used to be a very famous actress, is now aging. It's like a sort of an alternate version of the modern world where, like, we have cell phones and the internet and stuff like that, but we also still have like exercise programs, like the aerobics exercise programs. That's what Elizabeth Sparkle is hosting. But she learns about this thing called The Substance, which essentially she takes a shot of it and it makes a younger version of herself. And the idea is that they do 7 days each, but they are still one. So they have to alternate or it'll have like disastrous consequences. And as time goes on, even though they're supposed to be one being, they start to like do things to affect one another, and it just causes things to kind of go off the rails to the point where some really gross stuff happens. And it's kind of like crazy, like for Demi Moore, who, I think she's always been a good actress or whatever, but like this is a pretty extreme movie. Like there's some scenes in this thing that actually grossed me out, and they're not all the body horror stuff. There's some shots of like food that just grossed me out.
Okay.
Like there's one where Dennis Quaid is like eating shrimp, and it's just like grossing me out, man. Like he's playing like this really skeezy, like misogynist, like super sexist, like TV producer type dude, like really skeezy kind of guy. But yeah, and then he's like eating the shrimp, and I was like, absolutely not. So definitely recommend it. Like I said, I got the movie subscription for 7 days to watch it. So recommend that. Try a
not
free
into
trial.
The shrimp conversation. It's not selling me. It's gross.
It's not the only time too where something really gross happens, including at some point a blood fountain. But the one thing I really loved about the movie is it had very like obvious, like everyone talks about the Cronenberg of it all, but I feel like that's like the highbrow version of it. Like there's a lot about this, including like the look of The Substance and like some of the scenes towards the end that were very much like Stuart Gordon, Brian Yuzna style stuff. Like this blood fountain thing is like straight out of like the end of the From Beyond or something. So
get that pineal gland rocking.
I mean, kind of. Now we're in the top 5. So number 5 is one we actually talked about on the You Are Not the Father segment. It is The First Omen, directed by Arkasha Stevenson, starring Nell Tiger Free as Margaret, Ralph Ineson as Father Brennan, Sonia Braga as Sister Silva, Taufik Barhom as Father Gabriel, a couple other people. I think, Bill Nee as Cardinal Lawrence, Charles Dance briefly as Father Harris. Good to see Ralph Ineson back here after I had just talked about him earlier with Nosferatu. But yeah, I don't have to go too much into The First Omen. It's just way better than it had any right to be, considering it was a legacy sequel, and confused you when I told you about The First Omen.
Sure did.
But yeah, there's just some scenes in this that are like really gruesome and interesting, and just like I said, a way better movie than it needed to be, fitting into the old continuity, but still finding a way to carve out its own path to the future if they want to continue the series on. So The First Omen, I think I was streaming it on, was it on Peacock? I think it's still on there. It should be available to stream, so I recommend it. Number 4 is another French one, and another one we talked about on the You Spit Me Right Round Baby Right Round Like Record Baby Right Round 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 episode, which is Infested, the gross spider one. Directed by Sebastian Vanisek, starring Theo Christine as Caleb, Sophia Lasafra as Leela, Jerome Neal as Mathis, Lisa Nyarko as Manon, Finnegan Oldfield as Jordy. This is just one of those, like, I don't know how many times I watched this movie just because of my innate fear/hatred of spiders. I kept watching this movie over and over again to see, like, I can't believe how effective this movie is. Like, it is very sparing about, like, its longer shots with the spiders because it wants to make the most use of them, using, like, perspective shots to make them look bigger than they are and stuff like that. And all the subtext about, how all of this happening at, like, a tenement apartment in, like, France and Paris. So it's just like a really cool, freaky spider movie about, like, this is like infestation of venomous spiders in this apartment building. So it's on Shudder still. So get out there and check it out if you can handle spiderdom.
And you like this one better than the other name,
Sting.
Yeah, Sting.
Yeah, I think Sting, the problem with Sting is it was just more like a monster movie, right? Like, the spider in that was an alien monster just getting bigger and bigger, and it just didn't have the same visceral quality this one did. This one, it's like that hallway scene that I talked about last time, like where they have to run like as fast as they can without alerting the spiders and keeping the light on so you get to the end of this hallway. Oh man, there's just so many scenes in this that like mess with anyone who's ever had to deal with spiders that are extra aggressive. It's like absolutely not. So yeah, as a horror movie, this one is much better. I know some people don't like it when they have to watch movies with subtitles, but it's worth it. And plus the subtitles will be nice. That way you don't have to look at the spiders all the time.
True.
But yeah, still the idea that he's like, I'll just keep this highly venomous black market spider I bought in a shoebox in my apartment. This won't go wrong. All right, onward to number 3. We're in the money now. It's VHS Beyond. So it is a part of the VHS franchise, which we've talked about before. I am a big fan of anthology films in general, and most of the VHS films in particular. The one exception being VHS Viral. I don't know what they're thinking with that one. But yeah, running through like all of the different directors on each of the segments. You had the Abduction wraparound sequence, which was done by Jade Shield. Stork, done by Jordan Downey. Dream Girl by Virat Paul. Live and Let Dive by Justin Martinez. Fur Babies by Christian Long and Justin Long. And so yes, it's that Justin Long. And then probably one of the biggest ones was Stowaway, done by Kate Siegel, who, probably from any number of, oh man, what's his name? Who does all of the the House of Usher show and all that. Man, I can't believe I forgot his name.
The director?
Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's in a lot of Mike Flanagan stuff. She's Mike Flanagan's wife. And then that's her segment, Stowaway, actually stars Alana Pierce, who you might know from the video game community world.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what I loved about VHS Beyond, I didn't think I was going to like it going into it because it was going to be a lot of like alien sci-fi focused stuff. I'm not usually the biggest fan of sci-fi horror. But honestly, I don't think any of the segments were real misses, except maybe the Fur Babies one. It didn't really feel like it fit, and it was kind of, I don't know, a little bit bizarre. But like Live and Let Dive, Stork, and Stowaway were all excellent features. Stork being about like alien like bird people, and then Live and Let Dive, like a group of people are going skydiving when their plane is attacked by a UFO, and then on their way down they're like being attacked by aliens, and then when they land they're getting attacked by aliens in this like I don't know, like tree nursery kind of thing. And then Stowaway ends up being like a really crazy like body horror thing taking place on an alien ship. So, you know, most of this, I think all the segments work in one way or the other with the exception of maybe Fur Babies. So I recommend it. VHS Beyond, you can find it on Shudder, so check it out. All right, 2 more. Shane, can you guess what my number 2 is?
Wolfman.
No, that came out in 2025. I'm sorry, it's disqualified from being on the
Oh.
2024 list. Yeah, sorry. I will give you a hint though. It was in a That's a Lot of Guts episode.
Oh,
Do you remember?
the
Do you
name?
remember when it was That's a Lot of Guts?
Ah, it's the one where it's the slasher.
That's true.
Oh my god. In a Violent Nature.
My
Yeah.
number 2 is In a Violent Nature, directed by Chris Nash. You know, Rye Barrett is Johnny, Andrea Pavlovic is Chris, Cameron Love is Colt, Reese Presley is the Ranger, Liam Leone is Troy, Charlotte Crean is Aurora. In a Violent Nature, you know, I understand why some people thought it was a little too slow. That, you know, there's a lot of following the killer around and not a lot happening. But in my heart of hearts, I'm also kind of a film snob, and I really appreciated how it was basically a mirror of the traditional slasher, formula. It's just now we're seeing what the killer's doing when we're getting the exposition from, you know, the rest of the people, and what the killer's doing is a lot of walking. So, So In a Violent Nature, I think it's streaming on Shudder. After its initial theater release, I saw it in theaters, but I also watched it on Shudder. So super good. I recommend it. I know it's going to be a little slow. It's not for everybody, but there you go. And without further ado,
Can I make a guess?
yes, you may.
Terrifier 3.
No, it's not Terrifier 3.
What?
I didn't see Terrifier 3.
Traitor.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
it's Nosferatu.
Yeah, obviously.
It was always going to be Nosferatu.
It was always Nosferatu. Nosferatu could have been 5 through 1.
I mean, I really do love Nosferatu. I did see it 4 times in theaters. I paid to see it 5 times in theaters, but the one time I was going to go see it on a Saturday afternoon, and after my piano lesson, I took a nap and overslept. So I messed up. But I did see it 4 times, and I loved it each time.
I kind of hope
So-
they do, with a Blu-ray release, I kind of hope they do a commentary, because there's some interesting facts and trivia about like them filming this, like the location. I didn't know this. I was on IMDb just kind of like poking around, and apparently this castle is actually in what was Transylvania, like legitimately, and at one point housed Vlad the Impaler. I don't know how true that is. You know, it's IMDb trivia, so you got to take everything with a grain of salt. So
I mean, Robert Eggers does love his authenticity. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is a location available.
that's
that
the
he would
exteriors
want to
though.
make
Sorry, not
use
the
of it.
not the interiors. So like the exterior.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
interiors were at the one that they filmed Nosferatu, the 79, the Werner Herzog version.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did remember hearing that. Yeah.
So
But no, that's actually one of the funnier parts, though, is like, man, how many places can one man find that have large chambers, like stone chambers inside? Because there's like at least 3 different instances where I'm like, Like the one was like the church that he leaves. The one is the castle.
Yeah.
The one is like the basement of the mental hospital. It's like, how many places can you find that have like cavernous dungeons in them? Like, this man has been scouting all of Europe for the most. Like, can I find me some, 16th century dungeons, please?
Take
And Robert
dungeons
Eggers'
for
next
200,
movie
please.
is going to be called Werewolf,
Werewolf.
but it's spelled WERWULF, and it's going to be like a 14th century, like old English, like werewolf movie.
Werewolf.
So get ready for his next one, and I will be going to see that one in
I bet
theaters
it's going to
too.
be good.
I'm going to like it either way.
I bet you will.
So there you go. That was my top 10 of 2024, my 2024 post-mortem, if you will. So before we shut them down and open up shop, I'm going to run through some Tubituaries really quick, mostly because there's some that are very important and we need to get them out there. Most importantly for our listeners is that Spookies and Mausoleum are both slated to leave Tubi. So
What?
it's devastating.
I
Hopefully
don't know
that
which one
doesn't.
I'm more upset about.
Hopefully it doesn't happen. Well, Spookies,
Yeah, probably.
but like
Sure.
hopefully it doesn't happen because Spookies has been on Tubi for as long as I can remember.
That's why
So
Tubi
the-
exists.
Essentially, it's a Spookies delivery system.
It's a spooky simulator.
Yes. Like other than episodes we've done, there are a couple other ones. Tammy and the T-Rex is on the chopping block. Let the Right One In. Both the Sissy Spacek version of Carrie and then the Chloe Grace Moretz version of Carrie are both on the chopping block. Speaking of VHS, I talked about VHS Beyond. VHS and VHS 2 are both set to leave. It looks like every entry of the Leprechaun series is on its way out.
Oh no.
So if you're a fan of Warwick Davis's take on the Leprechaun, run, don't walk to Tubi and smash that play button. Train to Busan is on the way out. Bodies, 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 which I think is a fun movie. Kind of a slasher, kind of a whodunit, kind of a mystery kind of thing. And then finally, Predator is on the way out, and Prey. So it might be a purging of the Predator content from Tubi. So just a few examples. I'm not going to go into the long list like I usually do because we've already kind of run long on this episode for being a intermission. But there you go. Those are some Tubituaries for you to mourn and try to grab a glimpse of it in case they don't work out whatever license disputes are going on.
I mean, some of these are a travesty. I just I feel like this platform, it's been getting worse month by month, honestly. I honestly don't understand how it keeps getting worse and keeps happening, but I think we're
It's
stuck.
because of
we're
original
stuck with it.
content.
Yeah.
They keep stop doing original content. That was the downfall of Netflix. Just pay to keep the old content. That's all we want is the old content. But all right, well, we got a lot covered today. We did our Fangtastic 4. We did our 2024 post-mortem. And we even covered a few Tubituaries. I feel like that this is a red letter day for anyone, and our glorious return to our Dark Side Drive-In intermission. I guess I can play us out. I can see if our esteemed intermission co-host can spare
see what
some
he's up
time
to.
away from. Yeah, Dave. Oh, he was playing Balatro, but I think he was just sitting at the menu because he didn't know how to play it.
Dude, that music is addicting.
That's. But he doesn't have any ears.
Oh no. Well, you'll have to hear it.
Don't worry, I can still hear using eldritch sound perception or something. Don't worry about it. The important thing is, it's time to say good evening on this Dark Side Drive-In intermission. Be sure to tuck yourself in tight and cozy and hope that the winter beast doesn't arrive at your home because it's made of claymation. You'll find out more next time. But for now, these have been your hosts, Stefan.
Well, thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. And plugging next week's episode, too. That's really cool. Or 2 weeks. When is that one happening, Shane? Next week?
Which one?
No, the next one is going to be Elves. So like he just gave away the one that's after Elves, actually.
Well, we said it in Elves too, so it's Winter Beast. And
Oh no!
That'll be at the end of February.
And it will still be winter. And of course, your other host,
Thanks for coming out of the bone zone here, Dave. Oh my God.
Every zone is a bone zone of Dave's in the house.
That makes sense.
Because I am also of bones. Anyhow, have an enjoyable evening, and remember, lights out, frights out. Is that it? Is that the right catchphrase?
That's it, Dave. You did it.
All right, send me my Venmo of bones. I'm gonna go back and listen to the Belatra music.
What do you think about
He's gone.
coins?
He
never
dipped
mind.
out.
He's gone. Okay.
He dipped. Yeah, he's done.
Gone.
He's
All
gonna
right.
sit.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
He's
fair.
gonna sit in front of the screen and just listen to music.
That tracks, actually.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have to worry about how close he sits to the screen because he doesn't have eyes, as he loves to tell us.
Right?
All right, let's get out of here. Bye.
He thought he was in control. How wrong he was.
Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in. Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in movie club. From Dynamis Media comes a horror cyclopedia, watching movies from the gates of hell. Covers ripped from a blockbuster shell. Officer Bosch is the only good cop. Jugs and the stuff just can't be stopped. Things get hairy in the werewolf's lair. Turn the corner and the prowler is there. It's the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in. Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in movie club. Shane's the one who runs the show. He produces and keeps the flow. The Savini of the ones and twos. Only Jack Cordell has bigger shoes. Stephen does the bulk of the research. His descriptions just can't be besmirched. Lots of synopses are the top of lore. Just like Lamson, you'll be begging for more. It's the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in. Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in movie club.
From the deepest corner of the darkest universe, two brave hosts battle through nameless hordes of ghoulish monsters most foul, all to bring you the eternal glory of the Dark Side Drive-In.
It's the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in. Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in movie club. It's the dark side, drive-in. Come to the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side, drive-in. It's the dark side,